Have you ever noticed that whenever someone asks, what's the most reliable truck? One name always seems to dominate the conversation: the Ford F-150. It's America's best-selling vehicle for decades, trusted by construction workers, ranchers, business owners, families, and weekend adventurers alike. But here's the question almost nobody asks: does selling the most trucks automatically make it the most reliable? Because if you spend enough time reading owner forums, talking to mechanics, or researching repair histories, you'll hear two completely different stories. Some owners claim their F-150 has crossed 300,000 miles with nothing more than routine maintenance. Others swear they'll never buy another Ford after dealing with transmission problems, cam phaser repairs, or electrical gremlins. So who's actually right? Today we're separating myths from reality. We'll look at what the data says, which engines have earned the best reputation, which years you should think twice about buying, and whether the Ford F-150 truly deserves its legendary reputation for reliability. If you're shopping for an F-150 or already own one, this video could save you thousands of dollars. And if you enjoy honest automotive reviews backed by real owner experiences instead of marketing hype, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because we post new videos every week. Now let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand is that reliability isn't the same thing as popularity. The Ford F-150 has been America's best-selling truck for nearly 5 decades. That means millions of them are on the road. Naturally, you're going to hear more complaints simply because there are far more F-150s than almost any other pickup. If 1 million trucks are sold every year, even a tiny percentage of failures creates thousands of unhappy owners posting online. That doesn't automatically mean the truck is unreliable. It means there's a much larger sample size. That's why it's important to look beyond viral social media posts and examine long-term ownership patterns. As of mid-2026, organizations that track owner reliability generally place the latest F-150 somewhere around average for the full-size truck segment rather than class-leading or class-worst. Consumer Reports, for example, predicts about average reliability for the 2026 model based on recent owner data. In other words, the F-150 isn't perfect, but it also isn't the disaster some internet comments would have you believe. The truth lies somewhere in the middle, and much of that depends on one very important factor: the engine. Let's start with the engine that many mechanics consider the hidden gem of the lineup, the 2.7-liter EcoBoost. When Ford introduced this twin-turbo V6, plenty of truck buyers laughed. A small turbocharged V6 replacing a V8? That sounded like a recipe for expensive repairs. But something surprising happened. Over the years, the 2.7 EcoBoost quietly built one of the strongest reliability reputations in the entire F-150 lineup. Its compacted graphite iron block is incredibly strong. The engine produces excellent low-end torque, and it delivers fuel economy that many V8 owners wish they had. More importantly, major catastrophic failures are relatively uncommon when the truck receives regular oil changes and scheduled maintenance. Many owners have already surpassed 200,000 miles with very few significant repairs. That's impressive for any modern turbocharged engine. Of course, no engine is perfect. Like most direct injection turbocharged engines, carbon buildup can eventually become an issue over very high mileage. Turbochargers also add mechanical complexity compared to naturally aspirated engines. But overall, the 2.7 EcoBoost has earned a reputation as one of Ford's smartest engineering successes. If your priorities are reliability, fuel economy, and everyday drivability, this is arguably the safest engine choice in today's F-150 lineup. Then there's the legendary 5.0-liter Coyote V8. For many truck buyers, this is still the engine that defines what an F-150 should be: simple, powerful, naturally aspirated. And that simplicity is exactly why so many owners continue to prefer it. Without turbochargers, there's less hardware under the hood. The engine delivers smooth, linear power and has proven capable of extremely high mileage when properly maintained. It also remains one of the best choices for buyers who frequently tow or simply enjoy the unmistakable sound of a V8. That said, the Coyote hasn't been completely free of problems. Certain model years experienced excessive oil consumption concerns, while others saw isolated issues with ignition components and variable valve timing systems. Fortunately, these problems were nowhere near as widespread as some of the issues affecting other engines. Overall, the 5.0 remains one of the safest long-term ownership bets available. Not at all. In fact, many examples have accumulated well over 200,000 miles, but it does mean maintenance history matters much more than with some of Ford's other engines. A truck with documented repairs and regular servicing can be an excellent purchase. A neglected one could become expensive very quickly. Then there's Ford's most interesting engine, the Power Boost Hybrid. When Ford announced a hybrid F-150, many buyers assumed it would sacrifice capability for fuel economy. Instead, Ford did the opposite. The hybrid combines the 3.5-liter EcoBoost with an electric motor, producing impressive torque while also offering features like Pro Power Onboard, which can power tools, camping equipment, or even parts of a home during a power outage. For many buyers, the biggest surprise isn't the fuel economy, it's how normal the truck feels. The electric assistance is smooth, nearly invisible during everyday driving, and the added torque actually makes towing feel even easier. So if the engines aren't the biggest wild card, what is? To answer that, we have to look under the floorboards at a component that has generated more debate than anything else on the modern F-150, the 10-speed transmission. Ford's 10-speed automatic, known internally as the 10R80, when it first arrived, it sounded like a huge upgrade. More gears meant better fuel economy, better towing performance, quicker acceleration, and lower engine RPM while cruising on the highway. On paper, it checked every box, but in the real world, the story became much more complicated. Over the years, thousands of owners reported harsh shifting, delayed engagement, sudden downshifts, gear hunting, and rough low-speed behavior. While many trucks operated normally, the volume of complaints led to technical service bulletins, software updates, warranty repairs, and even government investigations into certain model years. The 10R80 has improved through updated calibrations and hardware revisions, but it's still one of the most discussed components of the modern F-150. For buyers considering a used truck, a thorough test drive is essential, especially during stop-and-go traffic when these issues are most noticeable. The latest F-150 offers massive touchscreens, digital gauge clusters, Blue Cruise hands-free driving, over-the-air software updates, wireless connectivity, and dozens of electronic control modules. That's fantastic when everything works, but it also means there's simply more technology that can occasionally need updates or repairs. Most electronic complaints aren't major mechanical failures. Instead, owners occasionally report frozen infotainment screens, wireless connectivity issues, sensor glitches, or software bugs that are often resolved through updates. Compared to replacing an engine or transmission, these problems are usually minor. Still, they remind us that today's trucks are far more complex than the F-150S built 20 years ago. Now let's talk about maintenance. One of the biggest reasons some owners get 250,000 or even 300,000 miles from an F-150 while others experience expensive repairs much earlier comes down to one simple thing: maintenance discipline. Modern turbocharged engines don't tolerate neglect the way older naturally aspirated engines sometimes did. Oil changes should never be delayed. Using the correct oil specification matters. Cooling systems should be inspected regularly. Let's start with the Chevrolet Silverado. The Silverado has built a reputation for offering dependable V8 engines and solid towing capability. However, it's also experienced its own share of transmission and electronic issues depending on the generation. Neither truck is flawless. The better choice usually comes down to engine selection and maintenance history rather than the badge on the grille. Then there's the Ram 1500. Many drivers argue that Ram builds the most comfortable full-size truck on the market. Its interior is excellent and the ride quality is outstanding, but long-term reliability has often been less consistent than some competitors, particularly when it comes to certain electronic systems and air suspension equipped models. Toyota's Tundra has traditionally been viewed as the reliability champion. That reputation was built largely on older generations powered by naturally aspirated V8 engines. However, the newest twin turbocharged generation has experienced its own challenges, including significant engine-related recalls affecting some early production trucks. Even Toyota has learned that introducing new technology doesn't always guarantee a perfect launch. The point is this: every manufacturer has problems. No modern truck is completely immune. The internet often creates the illusion that one brand is perfect while another is constantly breaking down. Reality is far less dramatic. Today's trucks are incredibly capable machines packed with advanced technology. And verify service history before purchasing. The F-150 can absolutely be a dependable long-term truck. In fact, that's exactly why so many fleets, contractors, farmers, and business owners continue buying them year after year. These are people who depend on their trucks to make a living. If the F-150 truly had a reputation for constant breakdowns, it wouldn't remain America's best-selling pickup after nearly 5 decades. At the same time, blind brand loyalty isn't a good buying strategy either. Ford has made mistakes. Some engines have had growing pains, the 10-speed transmission hasn't been perfect, and certain model years have earned more complaints than others. Acknowledging those issues doesn't make the F-150 a bad truck. It makes it a truck you should research before buying, and honestly, that's true for every modern pickup on the market. The days of buying any truck sight unseen and expecting 300,000 trouble-free miles are largely behind us. Today's trucks reward informed buyers. If you're willing to spend a little extra time researching engine options, checking maintenance records, reviewing recall history, and getting a professional pre-purchase inspection, you dramatically increase your chances of owning a truck that serves you faithfully for years. So here's the bottom line. The Ford F-150 isn't the indestructible machine some fans claim it is, but it's also nowhere near as unreliable as some critics would have you believe. The truth lies exactly where it usually does. Somewhere in the middle. Choose wisely, maintain it properly, and an F-150 can still be one of the best full-size pickups you can buy in 2026. But now, we want to hear from you. If you own a Ford F-15, what has your experience been like? Has it been one of the most reliable vehicles you've ever owned? Or have you dealt with problems that would make you think twice before buying another one? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story.